Making headlines tonight. The spokesman of the Ministry of Health, Dr. Al Vandin, has said that 5 people have been found to have had direct contact with a Nigerian man who was confirmed to be the first case of monkeypox in Cambodia. The National Assembly of Cambodia will resume its 7th preliminary session of the 6th Legislature on Thursday the 28th of July at the National Assembly building to discuss a number of important laws. The World Health Organization has activated its highest alert level for the growing monkeypox outbreak, declaring virus and public health emergency of the international concern. Myanmar's military authorities have executed 4 democracy activists, accusing to help in carrying out terrorist acts. And finally, Thai farmers raced their water buffalo at a muddy annual race on Sunday, making the beginning of the new rice growing period at the start of the monsoon season in a tradition that dates back to the 1800s to give thanks to their beasts of burden. This is the Daily Roundup on EAC News Channel. A very good evening to you. I'm Anthony Ellis. The King of Cambodia, His Majesty King Norodom Sihamoni, and Her Majesty Queen Mother Norodom Moninit Sihanouk have donated $1.5 million to the Royal Government of Cambodia to go towards the mining action and demining efforts across the country.
As stated in a royal letter signed on 23rd July, His Majesty King Norodom Sihamoni donated $500,000 and Her Majesty Queen Mother Norodom Moninit Sihanouk donated $1 million. In addition to providing royal support for humanitarian demining work, the King and Queen Mother also relayed their best wishes to Prime Minister Hun Sen and members of the royal government for making new achievements in the mission of the motherland and for the people. On 6 July, Prime Minister Hun Sen announced a national movement to help clear mines in Cambodia towards achieving a mine-free country by 2025. This movement welcomes the participation of people from all walks of life to make charitable donations that will help mine authorities accomplish this difficult task. Currently, Cambodia has almost 2,000 square kilometers of land that still needs to be cleared of mines, equivalent to more than 14,000 minefields. A report from the Mine Authority states that from 1992 to May 2022, nationwide demining efforts achieved more than 2.4 billion square meters of land being cleared, equivalent to more than 1 million anti-personnel mines, more than 260,000 mines, and more than 3 million explosive remnants of war. So far, there have been 65,003 victims of landmines and explosive remnants of war in Cambodia, including 4,793 women, 6,106 boys, 1,393 girls. Of the victims, 19,818 died, 9,077 survived with disabilities, and 36,108 survived with injuries. Darshana Gauchan, EAC News.
The National Assembly of Cambodia will resume the 7th preliminary session of the 6th Legislature of Thursday the 28th of July at the National Assembly building to discuss a number of important laws, including the 10th Amendment to the Constitution. EAC News reporter Darshana Gauchan has the story.
The decision to resume the plenary session was made after the President of the National Assembly of Cambodia, Heng Samrin, opened the meeting of the National Assembly Standing Committee on Monday morning. The draft constitutional law on the amendment of Articles 19(1), 89, 98, 102, 119, and 125 of the Constitution of the Kingdom of Cambodia and Article 3 and 4 of the Additional Constitution was approved by the Council of Ministers on 8 July 2022. The new draft constitution allows the party with the most seats in the National Assembly to ask the king to appoint an elite as prime minister to form the royal government through parliament, and also outlines additional procedures and the state process to form a new government in the absence of the prime minister or in the situation that the prime minister resigns. According to the Minister of Justice, Kautrat, the amendments made to the Constitution were necessary to ensure the smooth functioning of state institutions and to maintain stability, peace, fill the gaps of the Constitution, and still adhere to the fundamental principles of multi-party liberal democracy, as well as the principles of the constitutional monarchy. The second paragraph of Article 151 of the Cambodian Constitution states that amendments to the Constitution shall be made by a constitutional law passed by the National Assembly by a 2/3 majority. The sixth legislature of the National Assembly is currently controlled by Cambodian People's Party MPs, who took all 125 seats of the National Assembly. Darshana Gauchan, EAC News.
The spokesman of Ministry of Health, Dr. Al Van Dien, said that 5 people have been found to have direct contact with a Nigerian man who was confirmed to be the first case of monkeypox in Cambodia. According to Dr. Al Van Dien, the 5 people have not yet shown any signs of infection, although they still need to be isolated at their homes and have their health carefully monitored. If any symptoms are suspected, it must be immediately reported to medical professionals and consult authorities, so that the security and other can be maintained by the Phnom Penh Capital Administration. The 27-year-old Nigerian man named Osman Chizarim Nazirem tested positive for monkeypox in Thailand and disappeared from a hospital in Phuket on Friday, 22nd of July. He was found in Phnom Penh at the guest house on Street 430, Sangkrat Tol Tompong, near Phasad Dong Takov on Saturday, 23rd of July. He is currently being treated at the Khmer Soviet Friendship Hospital. The Ministry of Health has said until now there is no ban placed on travellers from any country around the world to enter Cambodia due to cases of monkeypox. However, the ministry still informs people to be careful and to carefully monitor the situation of passengers entering Cambodia. EAC News reporter Darshana Gauchan has further details.
The confirmation from the ministry came after a 27-year-old Nigerian man with monkeypox was found in Cambodia after he escaped a medical treatment facility in Thailand. Although there is no ban placed on international travelers from any country in the world, the ministry urges officials at international checkpoints to take a closer look at passengers entering Cambodia to see if they have any rashes or blisters on their bodies, accompanied by other symptoms such as fever, or with a history of travel from African countries where monkeypox is endemic, such as Benin, Cameroon, the Central African Republic, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Gabon, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Liberia, Nigeria, Republic of Congo, Sierra Leone, and South Sudan. In addition, travelers flying to countries where there are monkeypox cases are advised to protect themselves and avoid contact with infected animals, both dead or alive, which may be infected with the monkeypox virus. Rodents, kangaroos, and other mammals are provided as an example, and all travelers are advised to avoid eating wild game. Citizens showing abnormal or suspected symptoms should immediately report to a health professional, provide one's travel history, and report to the local authorities in a timely manner. Monkeypox is characterized by rashes, itching, blisters on the face, bodies, palms, soles of the feet, or genitals, accompanied by a fever over 38.5 degrees Celsius, headache, swollen lymph nodes, muscle and body pain, lower back pain, fatigue, or a history of travel to places where there is a recorded outbreak of the disease. The Ministry of Health advises people to be hygienic and live cleanly by regularly washing their hands, washing with soap or alcohol sanitizer, avoiding direct contact with patients or sharing materials with others, eating only well-cooked food and keeping food hygienic and avoiding contact with animals. The ministry urges anyone with a rash accompanied by fever and other monkeypox-like symptoms to consult their nearest doctor and be isolated immediately until a clear diagnosis is made. If no symptoms are present, isolation is not required and people can resume their work normally. However, the ministry urges all to still be careful and not touch others during the 21-day follow-up period after having contact with a person who has monkeypox. The ministry also urges local authorities to continue educating people on maintaining good health and raising awareness on contagion spreading in their communities. In addition, the ministry advises health workers to protect themselves in case of suspicion of contamination and to ensure thorough inspections are taking place at the border. Darshana Gauchan, EAC News.
If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of our platforms and channels. The EAC News app, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eacnews.asia. Join me and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favorite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear.
Russia and Ukraine signed a landmark deal to reopen Ukrainian Black Sea ports for grain exports, raising hopes that international food crisis aggravated by the Russian invasion can be eased.
The accord crowned 2 months of talks brokered by the United Nations and Turkey, which UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said were aimed at restoring Ukrainian grain exports while easing Russian grain and fertilizer shipments despite tough Western sanctions on Moscow. Russia and Ukraine, both among the world's top exporters of food, sent their defense and infrastructure ministers respectively to Istanbul for the signing ceremony, also attended by Guterres and Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan. Erdogan said the deal will help prevent famine and ease global food inflation, and called on Russia and Ukraine to end their conflict. Turkey, a NATO member that has good relations with Russia and Ukraine alike, controlled the straits leading into the Black Sea. A blockade of Ukrainian ports by Russia's Black Sea fleet, trapping tens of millions of tons of grains in silos and stranding many ships, has worsened global supply chain bottlenecks, and along with sweeping Western sanctions, stoked galloping inflation in food and energy prices around the world. Moscow has denied responsibility for the worsening food crisis, blaming instead Western sanctions for slowing its own food and fertilizer exports and Ukraine for mining the approaches to its Black Sea ports. Senior UN officials briefing reporters on Friday said the deal was expected to be fully operational in a few weeks and would restore grain shipments from the 3 reopened ports to pre-war levels of 5 million tons a month. Safe passages into and out of the ports would be guaranteed in what one official called a de facto ceasefire for the ships and facilities covered, although the word ceasefire was not in the agreement text. Though Ukraine has mined nearby offshore areas as part of its defenses against Russia's 5-month-old invasion, Ukrainian pilots would guide ships along safe channels in its territorial waters, they said. Monitored by a joint coordination center based in Istanbul, the ships would then transit the Black Sea to Turkey's Bosphorus Strait and proceed to world markets, UN officials said. The deal will be valid for 120 days but renewable and would not be expected to be stopped anytime soon.
And finally, Thai farmers raced their water buffalo at a muddy annual race on Sunday, marking the beginning of a new rice growing period at the start of the monsoon season in a tradition that dates back to the 1800s to give thanks to the beasts of burden.
Locals and tourists flock to the races around the 200-meter-long dirt track in Mapai sub-district of Chonburi province, some 80 kilometers southeast of the capital Bangkok. This year, over 60 buffalo joined the race in what organizers hope to prolong a lost tradition.
คือปีนี้นะครับมันเป็นปีแรกของตำบลมะไผ่นะครับที่มีการจัด
This is the first attempt this year in Mapai sub-district of Chonburi to receive the tradition that had disappeared for quite some time. I personally funded this newly built racetrack, and if it's successful, we will be continuing the tradition every year from now on.
ทุกปีนะครับจะจัดเป็นประเพณีทุกปีครับสำหรับสนาม
The annual race, which sometimes also takes place after the end of the monsoon season, was paused during the coronavirus pandemic, but made a return last year. Most Thai farmers no longer use water buffalo for farming, but many are still keen on keeping the animal and conserving the tradition of water buffalo racing.
ทุกท่านเลยนะครับ
Thank you for watching the Daily Roundup here on the EAC News Channel. For more breaking news and updates, check our website eacnews.asia or search EAC News on Telegram, Smart TV or your favourite app store. More from the EAC News team tomorrow night at 8 p.m. We'll see you then.